Whoa! Welcome back, everybody. Lauren, how's it going?
Good, brother. How you been?
Pretty good. Today is a very special day.
Yeah, we're going to have a kind of a special episode here, since I, nor any of us, can ever match Tom's love for wrestling games.
It's sad but true.
This is a top 5 only featuring Tom.
It's just like for the pure love that I have for lots of these games.
I can name one wrestling game that I've loved, which was Royal Rumble on Super Nintendo.
Oh my god.
It was absolutely terrible. I know it was.
Lauren.
But when the N64 absolute prize games were out,
golden era.
I was kind of fell out of gaming in that era, right?
Yeah.
I was a young adult. I had
That would have been the time to get into it.
I had other things on my mind.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Yeah, the girls.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But also, trying to start a career and I just kind of fell out of gaming, right? Thank God I fell back in, but hey, you know who never fell out of wrestling love? Tom.
Me. It's stuck forever. It's been a curse, man.
Yeah, and we're going to start with your number 5.
And it was released October 6th of 1995. It's called Geriku Burning Pro Wrestling.
So I've heard of Burning Pro, so I'm not that far out of the loop.
Okay.
But what is the difference between Burning Pro or Fire Pro? I've heard Fire Pro.
So Fire Pro Wrestling would have came out a couple years before at this point, because this is 1995. I believe the following year was Fire Pro Wrestling's final game for the Super Nintendo. So this would have been out at the time where 4 Fire Pro Wrestling games would have came out already, and Geriku Burning Pro Wrestling was literally them trying to kind of steal a bit of Fire Pro Wrestling's crowd by just calling it Burning Pro Wrestling and trying to fool us audience.
So this is a 100% competitor dev.
100%.
Oh.
And they got away
saucy.
with it. It is. To call it burning instead of fire, very good way to flatter human entertainment.
Okay.
Which made Fire Pro Wrestling, I think.
Okay.
And
so
and
imitation is the sincerest form.
I think so.
Okay.
There's 117 fucking wrestlers, which is more than any
how
of
many?
117
On a Super Nintendo
on
card.
a Super Nintendo card.
I'm gonna look it up while later on.
And
I want to see the cart size of this thing.
And to just knock off a couple of the promotions in this game, New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling, World Championship Wrestling, WWF, Pancreas, CMLL, UWFI, UWF are all promotions in this game. So if you wanted to MMA, you can MMA.
Licensed WWF,
Licensed wrestlers in this game.
This could not have been a cheap game to be made.
There's signature and finishing moves for each wrestler in this.
Which means, let's just say Bret Hart's in this.
You'd have your sharpshooter. You'd have
sharpshooter's in it, but
you'd have
that
your,
also
your
means
Russian
you
leg sweep.
have to throw a tiny bit of money to
Yeah.
Bret Hart. Well, I guess it depends on how Vince.
Well, it also
how Vince ran the prison.
It's all in Japanese, so I think they just get away with it because it's in Japanese. Maybe because if you're not writing it in English,
I don't know.
The trademark's in English.
Isn't Vince a little ruthless?
He is.
I
Very
feel like
ruthless.
there's no way. There's no way. This is okay. This started off as a list of 5 wrestling games, but I'm fucking in, man. I'm intrigued right now.
Yeah, and you could have 6 people in the ring at the time, which wasn't the first, because I believe Royal Rumble was technically the first one.
Guess it wasn't such a shitty game.
Yeah,
now,
not
Tom's
so shitty. You could do 3 versus 3 tag matches. This one was 8.5 out of 10. You could do Brett versus Sting for the first time.
Dude.
While they were still in both different companies.
Yeah. No way.
So yeah, Burning Pro Wrestling, that's my number 5. My number 4 is Tecmo World Wrestling, which came out in 89 for the original Nintendo. First off, let's get the cover out of the way. It's clearly Antonio Inoki headlocking Animal of the Road Warriors.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta look it up.
Yeah. Which makes sense because the Road Warriors went off to Japan quite often back then to make more money than they would in WWF when they were off.
So
it's not far-fetched.
Kind of the Terry Funk era where it was just more money over there.
There was just a lot more cash, and it was more quote-unquote serious over there.
More respect over there, too.
Yeah,
right?
it was a bigger community, and there was more respect. It was less cartoonish. This game was so ahead of its time for 89. There's play-by-play commentary by a commentator called Tom Talker. So there's lots of English in this.
English.
Quite often, you would even see like bad translations. Like instead of Northern Lights suplex, you would get
Right?
Northern Right
Northern
suplex.
Of course.
And for a game in '89, you have 20 moves per wrestler in this game, and they're all different, which is quite like that's a vast amount of moves for an original
NES
Nintendo game. Yeah,
No kidding.
yeah.
I
Like
mean,
that
like-
was better than WWF WrestleMania on Nintendo.
Fuck. What a terrible. What
Which
a
is
terrible
something you
ass
should ever
game.
compare to.
You know, that's the first time I ever rented a game, took it back, and they took it back.
Dude.
Because I was like, this is, I'm not spending $2 on this shit.
Yeah, it was a terrible game.
It was absolutely terrible. Pro wrestling was better.
Pro wrestling was awesome.
Like-
I was always King Slender.
God.
Everyone else was always Starman or Amazon.
Yeah, I was always Starman.
Yeah.
I was always Starman.
King Slender at the backbreaker. He was the cool one. In
But sorry,
Tecmo
yeah.
World Wrestling, you get close-up cutscenes whenever you did like your finisher or signature
Oh,
move,
cool.
which was awesome. So like instead of like
You
showing
mean
the side by side,
Tecmo had close-up?
yeah,
cutscenes?
Tecmo,
No
cutscenes,
way.
totally.
Huh.
Tecmo again, just nailing it, man.
Was
Like,
there a Ryu by chance?
No, there's no Ryu. But
Oh.
what you did get was there was an RPG likeness to it. Like you
Yeah.
had to train in between each match, so that you could
Neat.
gain your health up or your momentum. And if you lost a match, it would go down.
If I would have known this in the NES time, like if I would have known about this game, I would have absolutely played this.
In 1989, this was the wrestling game to get,
No kidding.
and it wasn't bad at all. And you could pick from 10 different wrestlers, and they're all like drawn out from people like Hulk Hogan to Macho Man. You know, there's no actual names in this, but you can tell who's who. And like
No
just
kidding.
like the previous one, it's not an 8.5, but this would be like a 7 out of 10 for me. This is a good game.
Okay. Huh. Now, I kind of peeked ahead, and you're number 3 on this list. I know it's Super Nintendo, but that fucking developer.
LJN.
Ugh.
So Lauren's talking about Royal Rumble. I pulled these together: Royal Rumble and WWF Raw for Super Nintendo. You got 12 wrestlers. You can finally do Ric Flair versus Savage Rumble rematch. Why not?
Of course.
Like that was hot. That was the Rumble that happened
Didn't-
that year. So you wanted to pull
wasn't-
that off.
Bret Hart and Perfect.
Yes, they were
Yes.
all in the Rumble. man.
I used to rematch King of the Ring semifinal.
Oh fuck yeah,
That's
dude.
still to me one of the greatest matches of all time.
So fucking good. Mr. Perfect was, well,
One of the most technically
perfect.
beautiful matches I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
absolutely.
And even
He made you work.
even the half shoot coming into it, like the Mean Gene interview.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great time.
Man, it was different. It was a different wrestling time back then.
Mm-hmm.
It was the very early mid '90s, and how different wrestling would become just a year
Oh.
to two after that. Is the Attitude Era would come out because this technically, I believe, they branded it the New Generation because the Golden Era was behind. The Hulk Hogan
Yeah.
style shit was in the past back then, but
This lead up to the Attitude Era
yeah,
might still be my favorite. Just
Same.
pre-Attitude.
it's really good.
Yep.
And like
Technically proficient wrestling, beautiful wrestling.
and you get finishers in this one finally.
Yes.
Which was only available on Sega Genesis back then. Like,
Yeah, God.
if
the
you
first.
wanted, I don't even want to talk about Super WrestleMania. Go fuck off.
Ugh.
Shit. But like,
Yeah, what a
Royal Rumble was
shithole
fun.
game.
Like it was a. Don't get me wrong. It was a button masher. Okay.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was fun. Just the Royal Rumble feature itself in this game was so much fucking fun. and
This game
addictive.
actually taught me the double thumb mash.
Oh fuck yeah!
The-
Oh yeah!
like it's-
Oh yeah!
You know what I mean?
Really
Like,
cramped, both of them.
yeah. But God, I got fast, man. I got so fast with it.
But like, it's a button masher, but again, like the Royal Rumble feature, it would make you come back.
Oh, yeah.
dozens of times.
I forgot how many times I played the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at the end of the day, that was kind of the only feature that mattered.
Yeah.
Because I got, like, again, I got so good at that double thumb mashing that even the finals were, like, whatever.
Yeah.
I beat everybody. It didn't matter. So,
But yeah,
Eh.
Royal Rumble and WWF Raw, they're just the same to me because Raw, the only thing that was different for Raw is that they added a bucket and the chair was still on the outside, and you would have super moves that were fucking absolutely insane. Like jump from one turnbuckle to the next one, flip in the air, and drop kick somebody. So, there was some stuff there for you. Do you want to know what my number 2 is?
Yeah, because I think it's going to be one of the... not looking at the list, it's just out of reach right now. I think it's one of the 2 off the N64, isn't it?
It's WCW World Tour.
Okay.
For N64.
And then the other
100%.
one was what? NWO.
WCW says NWO World Tour, and
Right.
then the next one was WCW versus NWO Revenge.
Okay.
Which technically I see as a continuation from one to the other.
Okay.
Like, I just see it as a big roster update.
Which is fair.
Yeah. Like,
If
the graphics
what,
got upgraded.
What ain't broke?
No.
Right?
And, like, this was the golden goose egg. The music was great. You had round robin or tournament style. You had league and exhibition mode. You could jump right into WCW versus NWO. You could finally see the matches that WCW
That you
failed
always
to
wanted
put on.
because Bischoff could...
Yeah,
Could
because
fuck off.
WCW just failed to give the fans what they wanted to see.
Let's just say who really fucked up that era.
Well, Bischoff kind of brought it back with the NWO, but then when Vince Russo came in...
Here we go. That's
Vince
that name.
Russo
That's that piece of shit we want
totally-
to talk about.
I fucking hate Vince Russo. He just totally destroyed a good company. And
Two
killed wrestling.
good companies.
Yeah, he did. He almost killed both.
Fuck.
But
I hate that man's guts. I've never met him, but I tell you, if I did, I would make sure I would drink like a grape juice box and suck on a couple sour candies just to get enough goob in my mouth to spit in his face. That's how much I hate that man.
So you know how many copies of these sold?
It's got to be big.
1.3 million. It's the 37th bestseller on the N64, right behind
But
Paper
is it the
Mario.
best-selling wrestling game? I'm curious.
I think WCW Revenge or No Mercy technically is the better,
No Mercy. I forgot. Right.
because everybody was just shitting bricks when No Mercy came out.
Yeah.
Because of the ladder match and the Attitude Era at its full height and
Yeah.
shit.
No, that's fair.
But for me, this was a better version of the PlayStation WCW versus the World, because they actually had the likeliness to the characters, the names. It was a bigger roster. You had WCW, NWO, New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan, Michinoku Pro, FMW, and the tracks were really good. Like, the music for this game alone, like, I wish I had it on vinyl.
I'm just looking at the sales list right now for N64, and this is just behind Paper Mario.
It's just behind Paper
Holy
Mario.
shit,
That's
man.
how many copies this game sold.
Damn.
But yeah, that's my
up
number
there.
2, World
Hi,
Tour.
Robin. We have a kitty.
Oh, that's it. Podcast is over.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Don't get to know number 1 this week. Oh, okay. Well, at least you're chewing on that side of the mic. That's fine.
So my number 1 is
Number 1. I knew one was coming.
Super Fire Pro Wrestling X Premium, made by Human Entertainment in
Shit.
'96. This game was fucking out of control.
So how many wrestlers? Just
104. 104.
over
wrestlers.
100 wrestlers.
Yes.
Unique?
All legit.
Damn.
With names.
Okay, so let's go over, because you have different styles of wrestling games. You have button
Yeah.
mashers. You have paper, rock, scissors.
Yeah.
You have weak, medium, strong styles.
Yeah.
Where does this one fall?
This falls between the last 2 you just said.
Okay.
It is a light, strong, medium grapple system.
Okay.
And it's also rock, paper, scissors. So if you do a strong grapple before you weaken your opponent up, he's going to reverse you.
No way. Okay, so pretty complex.
It's a very complex
So you have like a
game.
2-tier.
And
paper, rock,
also,
scissors.
at the same time, you have to time your grapple. So it's a 3... It's a
How
3...
tight? How tight is the timing on it?
So fucking tight. If you don't get the controls down in this game, like if you don't press the button at the perfect time, you will never get a move off.
Huh.
You will never get a strike off. You need to be in the perfect placement so that if you do a drop kick, it actually hits. There's no...
Yeah.
It's like pixel perfect. You need to be exactly where you need to be to make something work.
Real. So maybe frame perfect, or is it?
I would
like
say frame
2 or 3
perfect.
frames, maybe.
I would say...
Like as tight
yeah.
as like
One-
Street Fighter
one-
3, like third strike.
I
if
would
you wanna
say
parry
about...
shit.
I would say exactly like Street Fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like the parrying in Street Fighter, it's like maybe 3 frames,
Okay.
which is
I would say
still
about that.
tight,
Yeah.
super tight. Like, have you ever parried a fireball in Street Fighter 3?
No, I was never successful at doing that.
It's I actually literally learned how to do it last night at Arcadium, so it's so fun. So I understand how this could be a super fun game. Like
and that's
having
just
that
it.
tight timing just
like
it's addictive.
And it's not like people who've never played this game before can't pull it off. I used to bring my laptop into my jam studio, and some of the other musicians from other bands would be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm playing Fire Pro Wrestling." "Oh, can I give that a try?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I brought a controller. Why not?" And
Yeah.
I plug in the controller.
By the way, like this is not
fun.
a bullshit story. Tom constantly like, "Hey, I got an extra controller. You wanna?
Oh, 100%.
Want to play some? Always.
100%.
Want to play some Super Blood Hockey? Like,
oh man,
we've literally pulled that out at the brewery, just like
Dude.
randomly on the big drop down screen.
It's just just to get back on track. Like, once you learn the game mechanics about this, you and up to 3 other players can just have a fucking hell of a good
It's a
time
4-player
on this.
game,
Yeah,
dude.
and you could go 4 people on the same team, 2v2, 3v3,
Oh,
or sorry, 2v2 plus a computer on each side. But like, you could also
for a 6-man tag, okay.
Yeah, you could even Royal Rumble in this if you wanted to.
Oh,
Like, there's just a
all
lot
4 of
going
you
on.
could be. So you could technically co-op until you get everybody out, and then then get down to your 4. Like,
Yes.
oh man, this is right up my alley.
It's just so fucking awesome. And there's season mode so that you can become the Triple Crown champion. In Japan, unlike here in the States, they had 3 different organizations way back in the day where there were 3 belts. And eventually the NWA sanctioned that all 3 belts would be the one champion in Japan, which Japan had no issue agreeing that whoever had the 3 belts was the number 1 champion, which would never fucking
happen in real life.
in a million years here in North America, ever. Can you imagine if AEW and WWF and CMLL are like, yeah, whoever has these 3 belts are the number 1 champion? Not a chance.
No.
Because then your number 1 company would be like, oh, we don't have a champion.
No kidding.
For whenever they get the belt back.
Just to clarify, this is a Super Famicom game, right?
This is a Super
Okay.
Famicom game, yes.
So 95, you said?
96.
96.
Yeah.
Okay, so nearing the end.
And again, in this one, you get New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan, FMW, Michinoku Pro, WWF, WCW, Pancreas, UFC, War. Like, it just goes on. It's also like your most dedicated wrestling fans would have played this game.
Right.
And I'm talking about game FAQ dedicated. Like, I remember back in the day creating a wrestler, writing down on paper every single number for what you needed to make their attire so they look like the wrestler, and loading it up on game FAQ before you could actually upload your Super Nintendo card to computer before that was even a thing.
Yeah.
And that was hundreds of hours. And I'm talking about like whatever wrestler this game didn't have, we had your back on game FAQs, man.
No kidding. Like a community built around it.
Absolutely.
That's wicked. And it's a shame that the Western audience didn't get to enjoy a game like this.
They would eventually, when they would release Fire Pro World on Steam, which I think you can get now for $5.
Right.
And now, I'd like to think, I would like to think that some of the wrestlers that you get off Steam
were part of
my original mapping of numbers I put up years ago, over a decade ago on Game FAQs.
That's wild. Okay, I have one other thing I want to add onto your list.
Sure.
A dev company, a dev house comes out and they say, we are going to release and I know a recent wrestling game just came out and it's kind of been mixed reviews, but
yeah, it's been very mixed.
A dev house comes to you and they say, okay, we are releasing Q4 2024, we're going to release a wrestling game. Where do we go? What do you need in that? Do you want a
I make it.
Do you want like a regional promotions that you work your way up to get to the big guys, or do you want like an MLB The Show in wrestling format, or do you want? And then also, like, what do you want for your battle styles? Like, do you want the strong, medium, weak with the?
That's really good questions.
You
man.
know,
like.
Make your game.
I would
right
want
now.
it so that you'd have to work through the indies, and then and then once a promoter
like what's the
notices
local,
you,
love wrestling locally here.
Yeah, Love Pro Wrestling. There's
yeah.
Monster Pro Wrestling. There's Real Canadian Wrestling. I think there's Top Rope Talent as well.
What's Spencer Love? I
Yeah,
met
Spencer
him,
Love.
Spencer
Yeah,
Love.
he's a
Hey,
nice
let's
guy.
shout that guy
Really
out
nice
right now,
guy.
man. He makes a really fun promotion
Absolutely.
locally. Yeah.
I think what he has is a really good product.
Yeah.
And
Well, and you can tell it's a labor of love.
he loves it. Absolutely.
He loves what he's doing.
And like I
Yeah.
think once a promoter notices you, they should give you at least an option between two. And it would be off of how you wrestle. So if you wrestle real hardcore, maybe you go off to ECW.
Okay.
If you wrestle real technical, maybe you'll go off to England and wrestle English
Or
style, you know,
an
or
imaginary
Mexico or something.
promotion with Bret Hart or
or Japan.
Yeah.
You know, or if you're very aerial based, you're straight off to CMLL Mexico. You know.
Yeah.
And as far as like grappling, I think would have to be 3D style just to keep the audience base, but I would keep it Fire Pro tight.
Right.
So would I go off of a wrestling grapple from World Tour? No, I would go wrestling grapples tic-tac-toe style off of Fire Pro Wrestling, but still make it 3D.
So, what about like a hybrid, like a like Street Fighter 6? You know, very animated, but it's still at its core, it's 2D side.
Yeah.
But once you get into the grapple, then it can like switch to a 3D style, which you
That
throw
would
into the
be
ropes.
interesting. I wouldn't even be opposed to that either.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Like if it starts off a little further out 2D, and then when it comes in, it goes 3D, or vice versa.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
Like it's, or you have like
something
your
different.
small little quick time moments where you like
Yeah.
you guys do lock up, and maybe sometimes it's button mashing, but like not always.
Because that'd be different. Because wrestling games now, it's literally just like a sandbox.
yeah,
It's like here's your wrestler, Let's see.
it's
who
almost like
wins.
they tried to
And
go
it's
after
redundant.
the MMA crowd with like those UFC games,
Absolutely,
which are
'cause those have become-
trash. Like
Oh.
I just have no interest in playing them. It's like it's almost like playing Pit Fighter on Super Nintendo. Fuck, that game
Shit.
sucked, man. Holy
Pit
shit!
Fighter was garbage.
Just button mash and hope you win.
And I think that, oh my god, like just the pure love I have for wrestling made me look into a bunch of games. I didn't pick these 5 because I think they're the only 5 that I played. I played almost.
Oh, I've
100
seen your
wrestling
shelf.
games.
Like you're.
I used to have a vast.
He has a
vast
Super
collection.
Famicom collection. I think you have more carts than I do,
Yeah,
and almost all of them are wrestling games.
they were over a dozen Japanese wrestling games from Japan.
Yeah,
This is a great episode.
I
Thanks
thought
for
so,
allowing
man.
me
Like
to
you
to bring
definitely
this out.
opened my eyes on a couple things. Like I
Yeah.
definitely am gonna. I'm going to visit the Fire Pro. Actually, you have the cart, don't you?
I do have a cart.
We might have to do a tradesies.
Oh, I think we might have to.
Huh.
But thanks everybody for listening in on me and Lauren jabber about my love over wrestling.
Yeah,
and,
thanks for letting us indulge. This was a cool idea. I like these kind of random one-offs.
Yeah.
But for now, leave comments. See what you guys think about some of your favorite wrestling games, and if you've played all 5 of these. I'm curious. I've never played Fire Pro X Premium. I'm
Yeah.
gonna change that. I'm gonna fix that right away.
Yeah, and if there's a game out there that I've never heard of and that I didn't mention here, let me know, because I like testing things out, and just because I said I played what I think is almost all the games doesn't mean I played every single one.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
you are one of the most open minds I've ever seen in gaming, for sure. So
I think you need to try everything out before you can really just, act something.
write off everything and be the
Yeah.
definitive answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
true.
Cheers, everybody.
Thanks for listening.